Welcome to the Bernhardt Contracting As-Built Air Leakage Testing Preparation Guide, also known as Final Blower Door Testing. This guide will take you through the preparation steps in order to be ready for that test. Quick little side note of why we're here. Well, this final test is a code requirement. It is also a requirement for any other programs you're doing, such as Net Zero, maybe Passive House. The preparation is largely the same for all of these programs, no matter where you are. And in fact, across the country, it is the same. So if you're in Alberta working on the new energy codes there, the preparation is the same. So all can use this. Also, a quick side note, failure to follow any of these instructions will lead to higher costs and delay, so let's get it right and let's not waste any time or money. As far as booking ahead goes, a single family house, we can usually get to those within 48 hours. Sometimes we can get there a little better than that, but we can't promise that. So booking ahead is the way to go. And if you'd like to book an exact time, please let us know a week beforehand because then you can get 9 a.m. on Tuesday if you need that. If you're not too worried about the exact time, then 48 hours is good enough. If you're building a townhouse or anything more than with 3 or more units, we need to collect a few more staff members and equipment together. So 72 hours at least for those ones. Sometimes we can do better, but again, we can't promise that. If you'd like to pick your time, give us about a week and a half for those ones. For very large projects, things that are going to have maybe 5 to 10 units, we might need at least 2 weeks there, and we may need a week's notice for that again because we have to collect a few more of our team members together and make sure that there's room in the schedule for something that large. The best practice here for booking ahead is to book us well in advance of your occupancy inspection. So, we're not too worried about your paint colors and things like that. So you can book us in advance so we're not the one holding up your occupancy. It typically takes us about 48 hours to get a report back to you after the test. So we want a little bit of time to do that. So if you're waiting on us to get your occupancy, that's not an ideal situation. Ideally, you're booking us a little bit before that. As far as other trades go, some trades can be on site. They can be inside or outside. That doesn't matter, but we need to make sure that they know they are going to be trapped during the test. The test takes about an hour, a full test for us to sort of be in and out. About half an hour of that might be in a lockdown situation. So trades need to be either in or out, but they can't be both. And please let your trades know because inevitably, as soon as we start testing, somebody has to go smoke or get their lunch or something, and it's just annoying for everybody. So hopefully you've let them know before we get there and they're prepared for that. As far as what needs to be installed, all your mechanical systems need to be in. They don't need to be turned on. That's fine, but they do need to be installed. Windows and doors do need to be installed, including their weather stripping. What we don't need is landscaping and any paint or any finishes. So if your floor is not entirely done, doesn't matter to us. You can see in this picture here, there's some folks still working on the outside and a happy carpenter there. That is fine. They've got their landscaping in, looks great, but we're not too worried about that. We're just worried about the envelope of the house. So it doesn't need to be perfectly finished, but all the sort of core systems of the house do need to be there. As far as the testing procedure goes, we are going to, in most cases, run 2 tests. The first test is an as-operated test. That means we have all the windows shut and the mechanical systems turned on, but nothing is sealed. If this test reaches the target, then we're going to say thumbs up. That's good enough, and we're going to call it quits there. There's no reason to go on to the next test, and that's good enough. So there is no preparation required other than shutting all your windows and doors and turning off your mechanical systems if those are running. So should be quick and easy, and that's sort of the plan A version. And a lot of the houses we test do just that, where we just show up, we test, we hit the target, we're good enough, we're gone. If for some reason it doesn't hit the target we're aiming for, or we're trying to go for a much higher target than standard code, then we are going to do a second test. The second test is a code compliance test. The first one we need for any rebate programs, like the as operated test, that's the one that goes for any rebate programs, or EnerGuide, or Net Zero uses that test. The sealed test is the one we use for code compliance if we need to. It's only an if we need to situation, just because it's extra time. So in that case, we will go and seal mechanical vents. So any of your bathroom fans, HRV openings and things like that. So because this takes extra work, we typically only do it if we need to do it. Now, there is no prep required before we get there, so please do not prep anything before we get there. Our team will bring some prep materials with them, and the main thing they're going to use is this material here. It's called duct masking. We get it from tapeguys.com if you ever want to get some of your own. And it's relatively easy to use. It's sort of halfway sticky. It doesn't wreck paint as long as the paint is fully dry. It doesn't leave residue or things like that. So that's why we use it. Relatively easy to put on and remove without any sort of damage. We may also use some of this sort of tape, this red poly tape. It's good for outside things on like metal shiny surfaces. We tend not to use any of these other ones. Just the tuck tape, the duct tape and the tuck tape are too strong and they leave residue on a finished house. That's not ideal. The blue masking tape is generally not strong enough, so we tend not to use that. But if you have, you want to have some of this handy, particularly if you've got maybe very large openings, like I'm thinking a very large duct or something like that in your house that may not be able to be sealed by a 12-inch wide piece of tape that we carry, then, having some of this stucco tape and maybe a bit of poly around to seal that up, just in case. Let's not put it on before the test, but just in case, then that's a good thing to have on hand. And we definitely do not want you to seal anything that is not part of the envelope. So this is like plugs and lights, doors that already have their weather stripping on them, other systems that are not designed to be airtight. Thinking of other vents and things that have dampers on them. And so if our team shows up and sees taping like this on any of your exterior walls, they're going to pull that off because that is cheating. So we're not allowed to do that, and we can't have that on during a test. Also, things like fireplaces, do not seal those. Generally, wood fireplaces are pretty airtight and we're not too worried about those. Gas fireplaces do leak an awful lot on average. So it is going to be a source of leak. The solution is, not install gas fireplaces in the first place, but we cannot seal those. That is not how they are operated. So do not seal those. And even in a sealed test, when we're going around and doing that part of it, we would not seal the gas fireplace because that's not considered an intentional opening. They're labeled as sealed, and that's the way they're supposed to be. On the day of the test, we do have some power requirements. So power, is required to be reasonably available. We need one 15 amp, 120 volt circuit. It does not need to be GFI. So somewhere near the door where we're testing is ideal. Most finished houses, there's something nearby, and that's going to be just fine. Power supply needs to be within 10 feet of the testing location. Like I said, if you're wiring a normal house, hopefully you've got the power on by that time. And we'd be good to go. Usually not a big deal. The power does need to be clean. That means that, not running off of generators, no big compressors on it or larger saws on the same power system. So usually at final, we have, a proper power system hooked up. We have had some larger developments though, even at final where there's still, maybe the next building over has still got a lot of work going on and they're running compressors and saws and there's a lot of surging in the power. That doesn't work for our equipment. We need to have stable, clean power. So if you've got a lot of surging or a lot of big equipment running on that power system, we may need to make other accommodations. And please let us know if you are still running on generators or have poor power connections. We do have the ability to bring our own power with us, and that smooths out all that thing, but it's not part of our standard kit. So if you let us know, we'll put it in the vehicle and we're good to go. If we don't know about it, it could be a problem. As far as parking goes, we do have a bunch of heavy, fragile, and expensive equipment. So ideally, there's room for us to at least pull up to the house and unload, and then maybe we can move down the street after that. But ideally, there is somewhere we can get close to the testing location, unload all our heavy, fragile gear, and then then move if we have to. But we don't want to be lugging that down half kilometer down the street and through the mud. On the day of the test, our team will also need to do some data collection. So this is the final test, and we do require some data collection to verify our models and what we actually modeled is correct. And so we will be running around and doing some data collection there. We're going to take photos of all your mechanical systems, get the model numbers. We're going to need to go into the attic if there is one. So your attic hatch needs to be accessible and openable. So don't caulk it shut. So we'll need to get in there to take a picture of that. We'll need to collect window data if that wasn't done during the mid-construction, and various other things around the house. So basically what you're going to see is one of our team show up, run a test, maybe during the test or after the test. They will run around and take a bunch of pictures. Usually, again, we're in and out of there in about an hour. It's not a big deal, but we will need access to some parts of the house, such as the attic. If you are not going to be ready or there's some other delay, please let us know. It is a lot cheaper to delay than it is to have us show up and not be able to test. So if that big slider door just didn't arrive and it's just not going to be ready to test, just let us know. We'll delay. It's not a big deal. It happens all the time, and we'll just reschedule. It's normal part of doing business in this industry. So better to delay than not be ready. If you have any questions or are unsure about any aspects of this test, please reach out to one of our team, and happy to assist you. But otherwise, looking forward to testing your sites, and have a great day.